put this here. Oh, this I want to give back. If you don't mind taking this back. Okay, so we're now on the top of Lamites Amid Beis. Now, until now, we had one version of the machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon Levi. We don't know who holds what, but that machlokes was between bias katan adifa or chalitzas gadol adifa. Isti Amri, according to a different version, the bia kulyamalo pli the bias katan adifa. Everybody agrees that if the gadol refuses yibum, we will immediately shift over to the katan to see if he's willing to be miyabed. And that's what we called bias katan adifa. But now we're saying, according to this list of Basra, everybody agrees that bias katan adifa. He pligi, so what is the machlokes? Bechalitzas katan. In other words, if I understand correctly, the gadol refused yibum. At that point, the tennis ball goes into the court of the katan. He's not interested in yibum either, but he's willing to do chalitza. Right? This is what I called zilusa de beidina, because I don't have a grasp on this conceptually. So I'm using a terminology that's probably totally out of the ballpark here, but just to help me get through this. And that's zilusa de beidina, meaning for Bezdin now, after turning to the katan, to turn back to the gadol, that's already a zilzal on Bezdin. Like, what are you guys doing over here? You just turn to the katan, give him an option of chalitza. Oh, no. We're going to turn to the gadol. For what? For chalitza? The man refused yibum. See, you're like, it's like a ping pong ball. You're going from chalitza to chalitza. What did you gain by that? Once you already put the cards on the table of the katan, you offered him the mitzvah of yibum, and he's now in the driver's seat. He now has the mitzvah of yibum. He's going to wear the hat of mitzvah yibum, which gives him two options: either yibum or chalitza. We're not going to turn back to the gadol once we've already entered into the domain of the katan. Let's see if it gets a little clearer as we go along. Chalitzas katan v'chalitzas gadol. Pligi ba Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon Levi. Chad omer chalitzas gadol adifa, v'chad omer ki adadi did. Okay, so if it's ki adadi didu, so why don't we go back to the gadol? I think the answer is because the ball is in the court of the katan. Let's see if it develops. Mandi amar chalitzas gadol adifa da mitzvah gadol. Right, the mitzvah was set up on the gadol. I mean, again, we for the sake of bias katan adifa, we turn to the katan because maybe the katan will come forward, and with flying colors, he'll say, "Yeah, I'm going to raise the banner of yibum." But if he refuses to do so, then we go back to mitzvah b'gadol. We're not going to give the katan an option of chalitza. We're going to offer the gadol to fulfill this mitzvah. Again, it's not the full-fledged mitzvah, the ideal mitzvah, but it's the fallback position of this mitzvah, and that's chalitza. And that's called chalitzas gadol atif ve'ida. What about the other man, the Omer, who says that ki adadi ninu? Because again, we're now in the realm of chalitza. Both the gadol and the katan refused yibum. So what's on the table now? What's on the agenda? Chalitza. One man, the Yomi says, chalitza's gadol adifa. He was the one who was obligated in the mitzvah of yibum. L'chatchili should have done yibum, but in a fallback position, we're going to allow him to do chalitza and fulfill his mitzvah in a half-baked way. We'll call it chalitza. But that's the Tanai that we've checked out other options of yibum. And the katan, after we turned to him, refused yibum. At this point, we go back to mitzvah begadol, and here the mitzvah begadol goes down one notch from yibum down to chalitza. Be'idach, ki amri the mitzvah begadol linyan yibum, aval linyan chalitza kehadadi ninu. Yeah, the mitzvah begadol. But mitzvah begadol what? Yibum. Chalitza is a totally different entity. Chalitza's there was, how should I say, designed by the Torah to salvage the situation of this woman that she shouldn't be an agud. But that has nothing to do with the mitzvah. We had this problem way back when. Do you remember when we were speaking about Esei Dochalosaseh? And we wondered whether it's Efshel L'Kaim Shneim because he has the option of chalitza. This is the same issue. Where does chalitza fit into the whole picture of mitzvahs yibum? But again, ki adadi ninu doesn't really take us all the way to the finish line because we still have to understand, even if it's ki adadi ninu, why are you telling me that chalitza's katan adifa? So I don't know. So what happens over here in this case? Just practically speaking, what exactly goes on in this case?
Maybe because the cotton's already from the basement.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I called Zilzul Bastin, I called it. But is anybody saying this? Ki pligi bechalitzas kata. So what does that mean in practical terms? Should they fight it out? Let's go on in the Gemara. Maybe this will become clear. Tana lo ratzu chozu meitzel gadol. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a situation where everybody refuses yibum. First, the gadol refused yibum. We turn to the katan. He likewise, imitating his older brother, he also refused yibum. So what do we do now? Chosu meitzel gadol. I mean, that clearly indicates that that chalitzas gadol adifa. My love, lo ratzu liyabim el lach. Lo rotu lo lachlos lo liyabim. So what does that mean? That at this point we have a package. We have a package that includes both yibum and chalitza. And in terms of the package, everybody agrees that the gadol gets, first shot at that package. The machlokas here is only in a case where we can split the chalitza away from the yibum. How do we do so? Again, the gadol refused yibum. So now we turn to the katan. Once we turn to the katan, then according to one man diyamar, we give the katan a package deal that includes both yibum and chalitza. Now the Gemara is saying that once the katan refuses, so at this point we're going to give the katan an option of chalitza. Why? Because as you said before, David, the ball is in his court. He's in front of Beis Din. We asked him for yibum. The gadol refused yibum. We introduced the katan. We invited him to stand in front of the holy court, and we were a little disappointed. He refused yibum, but the ball is in his court, and there's no superior status to the gadol as far as chalitza is concerned. So let the katan do chalitza. Okay. Now we have a different scenario. And what's the different scenario? The katan refuses chalitza. He really throws the whole kit caboodle. He says, I don't want yibum, I don't want chalitza. So at this point, we sort of reached the end of the road, a brick wall. And now we start from scratch. And now we go back to the goat. And now chalitza becomes an integral part of the mitzvah. Where the gadol says, I don't want to do yibum, then according to this man Yomar, we turn to the katan. According to every man Yomar, we turn to the katan, and we ask him if he's up for yibum. That's according to every man. Now, the katan says, I don't want yibum. So what do we do now? That's going to be machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon Levi. Right? Did I get the names right just for the record? Yeah, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon Levi. What are they arguing about? Okay, now we're in the area of chalitza. And one Mandiyah says we go back to the gadol. The other Mandiyah says no, we're already with the katan. The gadol had his shot at the plate. He refused yibum. Now the whole kit and caboodle is in the hands of the katan, whether it's yibum or chalitza. So that's a machlokas between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon Levi. So if the katan wants to win the prize, and he has a good advisor, he'll tell him, go for chalitza. No, I don't want chalitza. It's an insult. She spits and she throws the shoe. I don't want any part of it. Everybody, then we go back to them. Meaning, Holzman, the katan didn't refuse chalitza. One man the says the ball is in his court. We've already turned to him for yibum. Let him decide if he wants to take advantage of the option of chalitza. That's one man. The other man the says, look, once you refuse yibum, we go back to square one, and we're not worried about zilusa de beidina. The gadol has the mitzvah of both yibum and chalitza. The other man the says, no, we left the gadol behind. We pick up the katan, give him the option of chalitza. He refuses chalitza. Everybody agrees we go back to the gadol. We give the katan the option of chalitza, according to that man Omar. But even according to that man Omar, if he refuses the option of chalitza, then he goes back to his status as the katan, and the gadol goes back to his status, reclaims his Stanley Cup. He's now in the driver's seat for the mitzvah of yibum, and he'll do chalitza. So I'm just bothered by the language of kadadi. Somebody should have said a little bit more than kadadi. Do you have any notes on the words kadadi? Maybe there's somebody embellishes beyond just translation. Do you have, David, any notes on kadadi? It's a little bit disappointing.
What does that mean?
Kadadi Ninu means that according to this man, the Omar, why should we give the gadol the option of chalitza? What superior status does he have? We've already turned to the katan. Give him the option of chalitza. Kadadi Ninu.
He just says,
my psychology.
Yeah.
just as the verse from which the preference for all the brothers derives is of Yibum. In this view, the preference is limited to Yibum and does not extend to both. Because only applies to
Because the
the
pasuk itself speaks about Yibum.
Yibum. Well,
And then mentions
that's
the Bechor.
part of Yibum. The
Yeah, but it's interesting because everybody agrees, according to this sugya, that once the katan refuses chalitza, then we go back to the gadol. So we see that there's still a status of a gadol, even with regard to chalitza. It's not just that the gadol was obligated in Yibum and period, and that's where it ended. None bar, it just was. Brothers already refused. Now are returning to him to perform chalitza. In time and Ishkin Red, you know what I'm saying? This is like yesterday, not yesterday, on Shabbos, somebody brought us a fruit plant. And there was a fruit there, I don't remember what it's called, that I never tasted. After I made a shechianu, I tasted it and I said to my wife, that was a bad shechianu. It was Nishkin Tam, Nishkin Red. It was like chewing something that didn't have any taste. Could be maybe it's early in the season. No. Yeah, but Steve, you wanted to say something.
His brother said no to you because his younger brother was going to say yes. He's already married. He's got not married, whatever it is. Comes back to him, he may not say he's going to do it. Wife might have said, hey, you got some unmarried brothers, let them do it. I don't need a co-wife.
Well, wait a second. Steve, we're talking about a case where the katan refuses chalitza. That's where the.
Well, you said even before, I'm back.
The machlokus is going to be in a case where the katan refused yibum.
Right. Why do they go back to the.
No, so I understand. Let's go back to the oldest brother. Oh yeah. You're adding that maybe he'll now change his mind.
Right, he said none of my other brothers is going to do it.
So the responsibility falls on me.
Right. I was hoping one of them would because I've already got a wife and didn't want a co-wife. And there's some
right. So let me just think. But I still want to get to Kiyad Dodi. So now the younger brother. Right now we're back to the other man. So let's put on a different thinking cap. The other man, the Omer says that after the younger brother, the other man, the Omer says that after the younger brother refuses yibum, we'll give him the younger brother the option of chalitza. Why? Kiyadadin. Well, what's the kiyadadin? Was it just flip a coin, or is it that now the ball is in his court? No, I just wish somebody would spell this out. Elitza's gadol at Bifia, but I want to know about the other man, the Omer, that Kiyadadinin. Here in the background, Kiyadadinin. Second, this is Lametes Amid Beis. That's who we're up to, right? Lametes Amid Beis. I don't see anything. Maybe I'm missing it. So let's go on to Kavase Gabi God. Right, so it says Lo Rotza Mahalchin Eitzel Ha'achin. Do we have such a Lo rotza. I don't see these words, Mahalchim Eitzelach. Did I miss that? See, it says Chozun Eitzelach. What does it say there? Yeah, it says Chozrim Eitzel Ha'ach. No, one second.
This was above.
Oh, Mahalchim al Kolach. Okay, fine. Right, let's go back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah says Lo Ratza. So the Gadol refuses Hebrew. Mahalchim al Kol Ha'achim. So Lo Ratza, we've just established, means Lo Ratza Lo Lachlos V'Lo Liyavim. So everybody refuses both Yibum and Chalitza. Okay, Ella. Amai Chozrim Eitzel Ach Agadol. What does it mean, Chozrim Eitzel Ach? But everybody's refusing Chalitza and Yibum, both Chalitza and Yibum. So it's got to be L'michfei. We give him a choice. He has two options, either Yibum or Chalitza. We'll force him to choose one of the two. So the Gemara asks, Lichvei Lidi too. So again, if everyone's refusing Chalitza and Yibum, we said that we go back to the Gadol. So what's the Gemara asking? Lichvei Lidi too. The Gemara seems to be backtracking. I don't get it. Oh, I see. I think I see what he's asking now. The Gemara is objecting now because we just said that if both the Gadol and the Katan refuse both, what's it called, Yibum and Chalitza, then we go back to the Gadol. So the Gemara says, why are you going back to the Gadol? He already refused both Yibum and Chalitza. The only possibility is that you're going to force him. Why should you force him? What advantage is there in forcing him when he's refusing to do the mitzvah? We just beat him up. You might as well force the katan. Where answers gave him the mitzvah lady day rabbi. Is the day kaifina. So I guess what Mars being machadish in the answer that they didn't understand in the kasha was that the mitzvah of the gadol includes chalitza in some sense, even according to the Mandiyamar, who holds that bias katan adifa. He writes, "Kevot she'ikar mitzvahs yibum mutelas ala achad gadol, v'kula misarvim l'kaima, bezdin is kokim likvos, chozun lochav v'sad gadol, below kofin is shara." Because ikar mitzvahs yibum mutelas ala. Kind of like, chalitza here is like a nachschlepper. You know what I mean by a nachschlepper? It's like it hangs on to the coattails of evil. And if we get a zero from both sides, from the gadol and the katan, they're not interested neither in this nor in that. Now we're up to the level of kfiyah. So chalitza gets swallowed up or attached to yibum. And we say, who's obligated in yibum? The gadol. And therefore, he in this case, we're going to force him to choose between Yibum and Chalitz. Those are his two options. And we're gonna sort of beat him up. Toshma. Tola. Begadol. David, you told me last. Who's out there on the ship?
The oldest one.
The oldest one. Okay, good. So Tola begadol. I guess we're waiting for the gadol because he's obligated the mitzvah of Yibum. He's out there in the high seas. So we'll wait till he returns. It says Ein Shomen. I'm wondering who the low is. The low is the katan here? What does it mean, Ein Shomen low?
The first brother that said that, so that's what he, what I was saying. Next brother, one of those pastors.
But who's in Medina Sayyam? The gadol?
The oldest brother's understanding.
Oh,
the next
so
one is the one that asked, and he says,
let's wait till the gadol comes back from Medina Sayyam. Ain't Shomelo, but why not? Isak Adaita Chalitzas Gadol Adifa is Amai Ain't Shomelo. Mintar Dilma Asi B'Cholitz.
Before we answer,
what's this Dilma Asi B'Cholitz? I don't get it. Maybe why does the Gemara say Dilma Asi V'Yave? I don't know. The Gemara is attacking the Maniyom who holds Chalitzas Gadol Adifa. I forget about Chalitzas Gadol Adifa. We're talking about Yibum here. For some reason, the Gemara assumes that when he gets off the ship, he's not going to be interested in Yibum. Maybe that's what the Gemara is going to ask now. Let's see.
yeah.
And if you're going to say what? That Yadodi Ninu, like the other man, the Omar, we're not going to accept the Chalitzas Gadol Adifa. Right? I think the Gemara is asking about Yibum now. Okay, fine. So Chalitzas Gadol is not hatsy patsy. It's not so fancy schmancy. But still, we want to get Yibum going over here. Maybe, why don't you want to wait for him for the possibility of Yibum? No, just one second. Again, why is the Mishnah saying And when the younger brother says, let's wait for the other brother to get off the ship, we're not going to listen to him. What does the Mishnah say? Ein shomer lo. Is that what it says in the Mishnah? Amai. Why don't we listen to him when he says Ein shomer? Nintar dilma godil umiyavim. I don't understand. I thought we were talking about someone on a boat. Now we're talking about someone who's not old enough. I don't know.
No.
What did I miss here?
No, he's saying that you said he may not, we don't know if he'll do chalitza or not. For that same very reason, we can go to the cotton and the same thing. Why do we say there that Shomin life, maybe he'll grow up and want to do Yibum? So the same logic you're applying to the older brother, to one's overseas, you should apply to the cotton as well.
Yeah, well, we should wait?
Yeah.
But I don't get it. In the case of the older brother, we said we're not waiting for him. Ain't
No, that's saying in the case where the young, where we say that the cotton can grow up and maybe he will meet what's on the other note. So you should wait till it grows up.
We should wait.
That's what I think it's the same.
So, why are you telling me that we don't listen to that argument? Nintar dilma godel miyabe.
It originally said that the older brother's overseas.
Right.
You don't wait when he said, you don't wait for you, but they said, why not wait? Because maybe he'll come back and he'll say he'll do chalitza. So the Gemara was saying, well, in that case, the parts will come also. He'll grow up and maybe he'll want to do Yibum with them. Same logic.
But we in the case of the gadol that we spoke about Medina Siyam, we rejected that logic, right? We said,
No,
ain't
am I ain't shown?
so we asked the question that we should wait for him, and that was saying that even if I hold that ain't chalitzas gadol adifa,
right?
But certainly we would prefer yibum, and therefore bekatan achiyagdil is ein shalom. That's what it says in the Mishnah. Ein shalom.
We said ain't shalom.
So again, according to you, that chalitzas gadol is not the be all and the end all.
No,
we can do okay with chalitzas hakaton, but yet you have to agree that if the possibility exists to fulfill this mitzvah the best way, in the ideal way, we should wait. So then in the case where the gadol says, let's wait for the cotton to mature, is ain't shalom. Why? Why ain't shalom? Nintar dilma gadil umiyabeh. Elo kol shehuye mitzvah lo mashina. Oh, we're reading that? I didn't know. In my Gemara, it's in brackets. I didn't know whether Inami Osi Ihu Umiyama.
The older brother from overseas.
I think the older brother is overseas.
Asked before.
And logically, we should wait till he comes back, because maybe he'll want to be miyabed. He'll call a mitzvah lo mashkin. So chalitza, let's say chalitza's gadol at bifa, and now the gadol is in Medina Sayyam. We're not going to wait till he gets back from Medina Sayyam to do chalitza, because we're not matcha the mitzvah. We don't delay the mitzvah. Okay, I guess this is where we'll stop for today. So where are we up to? Tanan Hassam? Yes, Tanan Hassam, Mitzvah Ibum Kodemes. Okay, good. So let me make a note of it. And what, tomorrow is Tuesday, right? So that's Tanan Hassam on Daf Amid Beis.